So Travis had been writing films since the day I met him. The funny part was he had been writing the same book for years, and one day he came to us and he said, I had a really impactful conversation with my mom a couple years ago, and I think it could be a movie. And about, I want to say a week later, he came back to us and said, okay, the script's done. And I said, done? Because you're the same guy who's taken 3 years to write a chapter in a book. 8 years?
Hopefully I can get something pulled off here and finish one of these endless projects.
It's here. We finally showed it.
It's like therapy.
Good. We'll do interviews every yes.
We'll call this an interview. Yeah. Why do you drink so much, do you think?
Well, good luck, man. 2,000 words to go.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, my first experience of Mother's Day was the day that it happened, back in 2013 or 14. Got on my motorcycle and I had tears and my throat was totally raw, basically lost my voice. It was so sore from so much shouting. I had all this adrenaline in my system because the dog had bit my ankle.
It's every single time that we see each other.
The only thing I could connect it to in my head was melodramatic movies I had seen.
Don't worry, I can't be bothered. You're not with
And I just thought, you know, should I write that down right now while I remember every beat of it? And I couldn't and didn't because I thought it wasn't right to. You're not supposed to talk about your private life. Like, it just felt like taboo. And it took me a very long time to grow up enough to realize that there's importance to communicating something like that.
It had to be like October 2019, I think it was. Travis reached out and mentioned that he had written a script.
Just as an exercise, I would just write down what I thought happened that day.
And then all of a sudden he's like, it's done. You want to do a read through? And I was like, okay.
Travis, the Bronze, and I got together to read the script. It was the first time, I believe the first time anybody was reading it after Travis had written it.
At the time I was pregnant and nobody knew yet.
Mother's Day by Travis Carlson. Exterior, farmhouse on a hill, early morning.
Isn't this nice? Getting to sit out here.
Hopefully I can pull something off here and actually finish one of these endless projects.
Peeling back layer after layer, and when you just think, I mean, it's really good. It's essentially as if you're like reading a book and you're ending a chapter.
Okay, so this trip was really to go down and see him.
And you're like, where is this going to take me next?
Stop telling me what other people said. You are in charge of your life. You do these things.
Well, I don't know what you want me to say.
It was something really powerful, something really real and raw.
You could hear it in my voice. He knew something was wrong.
But it hurts and I'm bleeding.
You scare her.
Really? She's out of control and she bites someone and you take her side?
It's just loaded. It's packed with a lot of real raw emotion.
Who's my mom?
He cries.
Because I do love her, even if it's so fucking hard to talk to her. I can't find her anymore. She's not listening.
She sees Jordan astride his bike in Frank's driveway.
No, stop. Honey, no, stay. I'm so sorry.
Jordan turns off the bike.
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. Same to you.
Another day. Mother's Day. The end.
But my first reaction was like, we have to make this into a movie. Just the conversations that we had, the four of us, about our own families or people we know or our own stories, and like what this story brought up for us.
It became like a 2-hour discussion about all of our upbringings, their own upbringings and their own relationships with their family members. And I was like, ooh, that's it. Like, I don't even know if we all knew and would point our fingers to like, oh yeah, that's what happens and that's why it's valuable. But that is what happened, and I do think that's why it's valuable.
I felt so connected to the story that by the time I was done, I was just thinking this has to come to life.
Right away, I was connected to it. Once I knew it was a story about just two people and a family and mental health, that is a huge thing in my life and my family's life. So I'm automatically connected to that.
And it was a powerful one, and I'll admit one that I didn't expect to be as moved by as I was. So.
And I have to be a part of it.
I was all in.
I think somebody's going to relate to one of those characters, whether it be the son or the mother.
It's a very personal story, and potentially some of the ugliest parts, and not the most amazing parts of my mom, and she is amazing. But maybe this would do more good than the amazing things, you know, to talk about and to point the spotlight at. She was the first person I called when we thought we might make this, to see if this was even something that she would want available. And she really appreciated that and thought about it and talked to her counselors about it, and then decided that it was the right choice that we make this movie, tell this story. But we did talk a lot about the event, and we wouldn't have. That was just something we'd put away, that part of our life, like a very, yeah, it hurt, and hurt both of us. So many movie conventions, it's just like good versus evil. Mother's Day is not that, and like a real conversation is not that. It was me fighting as hard as I could to protect my mother from what I thought could be like extremely damaging actions.
Listen to me! Mom, I love you, okay? I do so much. I mean, that's what this is.
It's worth talking about, you know. A lot of people feel sheltered or shy to come forward and mention things like this, and it's so many things that you can get involved with just to talk to people.
About not only their mental health, but their relationship. You know, relationships between two people who don't see things the same way. You know, they don't have a perfect conversation, but they're working to get on the same page with one another.
I mean, really the goal is that it gets people talking about some of those things that are probably deep in their stomach and they just don't touch all the time. And, you know, just because maybe it happened 10 years ago, you know, it's just their childhood, you know, or their relationship with their family. But there's still things that need to be talked about. I think a lot of us have it, and I think watching two people go to the most vulnerable parts of themselves creates room in your own heart to say, like, man, what are some of the things that I would be talking about in that situation? And I don't care if you talk about my childhood or my story or how it felt, made you think, but hopefully it says, man, this is sort of like the way I was raised and taught, and then changed.
Any different way, if you tell your story in any different way, I think it will, you know, it'll touch somebody different, and I think that expands the conversation of mental health.
Hello again. I'm Travis, the writer and director of Mother's Day. This movie was made by a group of volunteers. This was not a Hollywood budget, and we do not have a Hollywood marketing budget. You are literally the only way that people are going to discover this. So if you like what you saw, or you want to pass this along to anybody, please feel free to share it, spread the word. And if you feel so inclined to give a donation to the team that did this by themselves for over 2 years, you can go over to panamericanfilms.com. Usually only about 1% of the people who see messages like this will actually go and donate. But we would really appreciate you specifically. If you would be the one who takes action, we would really help to compensate the crew and the cast who worked over 2 years of their life to bring this to life for you for free. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and from Pan American Films, and from the hundreds of thousands of families that deal with this every day. Thank you.